Warning: the following content contains a lot of spoilers. If you don't want to get spoiled, feel free to click off this video and watch a different video of mine. You're free to come back here after you completed the anime. Viewers' discretion is advised. Okay, this anime had me feeling happy and sad at the same time for all the right reasons. Since this anime has a crazy plot, this video is going to be crazy as well. Speaking of which, let's get right to the introduction. Gosick is based on a light novel series written by Kazuki Sakuraba and illustrated by Hinata Takeda. Rest in peace. It lasted over 9 volumes from 2003 to 2011, while the anime series was released in 2011 and lasted only 24 episodes. There would also be a manga series, still written by Kazuki Sakuraba, but illustrated by Sakuya Amano, which lasted over 8 volumes and 28 chapters from 2008 to 2012. It was animated by Bones, an animation studio I have mentioned that animated Scrap Princess. Alright, let's get right to the plot. We start the anime in the year 1924 in a fictional European country named Salville, where we see a student from Japan named Kujo. And here's the thing about Kujo. Nobody from his academy likes him, so whenever they see Kujo, they see him as bad luck. So Kujo doesn't have any friends. But one day, his professor tipped him off to meet up with a female student who is also in their class, and she always stays absent. The female student is named Victorique, and Victorique is an interesting girl. She always keeps to herself, and she's extremely intelligent. Another thing about Victorique is that she can also solve murder cases when Kujo or the police give her details of the crimes they are investigating. I will list all the crimes Victorique solved throughout the anime, but I will not go into detail due to how it's a lot to explain and it would be difficult to explain them. The first crime they solved was when both Kujo and Victorique attended a luxury ship. While inside, the other passengers start getting killed one by one until Kujo and Victorique solve the crime themselves, and they eventually have one of the passengers arrested for being the one responsible. The second crime was when Kujo was a suspect for the murder of a biker whose head was removed due to how he witnessed it. But after the police investigated, it turned out to be a blonde girl who set up an invisible trap that caused the biker to die. The third crime was when a girl named Avro, a foreigner from England, transferred to the academy, but something was off about her. Avro is extremely out of character, and she isn't acting like herself. Turns out that this Avro is actually an impersonator. The real Avro was later found by Kujo after he entered an abandoned building where she was nailed underneath. The fake Avro would be confronted by Kujo, where Victorique helps Kujo by knocking the fake Avro unconscious, which would lead to her arrest. The fourth crime was when Kujo and Victorique visited a small town where Victorique's mother was falsely accused of murder. Other tourists would come with both of them, but 2 of them would get killed. Eventually, after investigating, Victorique finds the person responsible for the murder her mother was falsely accused of. It was a maid named Harminia. After Harminia was confronted for being the murderer, she went completely insane and started burning the town down. However, while she was burning the bridge down so no one could escape the town, she fell to her death, which means she died before anyone could arrest her. The fifth crime doesn't involve Victorique due to her being sick, so this time it's all Kujo solving the crime himself. Kujo was out shopping one day to buy souvenirs for his sister. While shopping, he visited a department store. Inside, he visits the basement of the place where he sees a lot of mannequins, but one of them ends up being a real person. It's a woman who was kidnapped by the owners of the department store. When Kujo tries to report it for the first time, the department store owners hide everything and act like they have never seen Kujo before. But later on, a homeless boy tells Kujo that he's aware of what the department store has been doing, so he alerts the police and makes them start investigating. So the police set something up to trick the store owners into confessing to kidnapping. which they do when they put their handprint on every window to see which one is a suspicious window, which only one of them doesn't show a handprint. When the police barge into that area of the building, they find other women kidnapped and being sold to people. So they arrest the owners and everyone involved in the crime, solving the case once and for all. The sixth crime isn't really considered a crime for me. It's more of a mystery Victorique solved involving an already deceased person, so I won't go through that since it's a lot to explain. A little break from explaining the crime since Victorique's dad has taken Victorique to a place in Lithuania. After someone tips Cujo on where Victorique is, he leaves Salville and travels to Lithuania to look for her. Once he arrives, he finds someone who looks like her, and that person is Victorique's mom. Cujo follows Victorique's mom, and she leads her to the room where Victorique is. Cujo then enters the room and takes her outside. Moments later outside, a huge amount of water enters the place and starts flooding everything. Cujo would then carry Victorique and take her to the train, where they would be rescued by two women. Here is the thing about these two women. They are both spies. So after they were proven to be spies, they both ended up getting killed, including another guy who was a spy as well. There's a fourth spy who was with them, but he's impromptu, so he doesn't get killed. By the end of that, Cujo and Victorique both get home safe. The seventh and final crime is related to the sixth one, so I won't get into that since it's pretty long and complicated to explain. I'm sorry everyone. But now, the ending is near. One day, on Christmas Day, Cujo was supposed to enjoy what he thought would be a great Christmas, but due to an upcoming war in the country, the king of Salville announced that all foreign citizens should return to their country, so they took Cujo back to Japan. From here, Cujo is deported back to Japan, where he would be enlisted in the military, and Victorique would be in prison in the Salville Royal Palace. I won't get into every detail due to its political reasoning, and I personally don't care or talk about politics. So at one point, Victorique was supposed to be at her dad's ceremony. However, she was replaced by her mother, who would expose Victorique's dad to the public for the crime he committed. After Victorique's dad was exposed, he got into a fight with Victorique's mom to the point that it got deadly. Victorique herself was taken away from danger by a man named Brian, or I should say, Bad Brian since he's the twin brother of another man also named Brian. The good Brian is in an area where the ceremony takes place. At the end of that, the ceremony ended up burning down, and people like Good Brian, Victorique's mom, and dad all died as a result. Meanwhile, Bad Brian tries to kill Victorique to try to erase her mother's pain, but as a result of that, Bad Brian ends up falling off the cliff and is left seriously injured. Both Victorique and Bad Brian escape on a boat to leave Salville. While inside, Bad Brian succumbed to his injuries, and he ended up dying as a result, leaving Victorique all alone. Years later, the war finally ended, which means everything is back to the way it was. In the end, Cujo reunites with Victorique, who was living in Japan, waiting for Cujo to return from the war, which means the anime ends with years passing to the date where both Victorique and Cujo would eventually get married, being a good ending once and for all. Okay, once again, I apologize for skipping a lot of the topics I haven't explained here. I only didn't because of how long this video would be if I did so, and especially that political part I didn't want to explain. Either way, this was such an interesting and historic plot I have ever explained on this channel alone. Let's move on to the animation. The animation is pretty good, since I appreciate anime that are animated by Bones, since they do pretty well at it. I even enjoy that this is an anime that was released in 2011, since early 2010's anime are pretty enjoyable and great in my opinion. Let's move on to the opening and ending themes. The opening is low-key an underrated banger. Whenever I listen to it, I start head-bobbing to the song and enjoying it. This opening is performed by Risa Yoshiki. The first ending is lovely and it fits for an anime like this. There should be more anime with this artist singing either the opening or the ending of the anime. This ending is performed by Lisa Komine. The second ending. Even though it's performed by the same person, this ending isn't my vibe, so I didn't enjoy it. This ending is performed by Lisa Komine once again. Let's move on to the voice acting. The voice acting is pretty good. It's also pretty sweet and funny at some point in the anime. However, at the end of the anime, that's where the voice actors/actresses felt depressed and not happy due to what was happening to Kujo in the situation. Let's move on to the pacing. The pacing is alright. It's kinda slow to me due to how there were some scenes I didn't really care about since they weren't too important in the plot. But without those scenes, the pacing for the serious plot made me nervous to continue watching after what was happening in certain scenes. It was like I couldn't watch it or look at the screen while those scenes were happening. Time for my final review. Time for my final review on Gosick. I'm placing Gosick on feel free to watch it, in between Psalm 100 and Inuyashiki. I love this anime, but once again, the pacing kinda made me lower my opinion on the anime. Time for my next anime. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Gachiakuta! Holy crap, that was so close to being Mysterious Girlfriend. But Gachiakuta is my next anime. Banger anime from what I heard from a lot of people. And I actually wanted to watch this after I put it on my wheel. Alright then. Time for my outro. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe. And please follow my socials in the description down below. And since you know what my next anime is going to be, stay tuned for that. Until then, this is Enjeru, signing off.